before returning to Franklin, where he is currently in his 5th year as a principal.
All right, well, good evening, Commissioners. Callum and Castle, can you come up here and join me? All right, why don't you guys stand right here? I'm going to brag about you a little bit, okay? All right, so Castle and Callum, I asked the teachers, can we give me two kids that could say the Pledge of Allegiance? And they said, without doubt, are some top-notch students in 8A are Callum and Castle. They are respectful, hardworking, they participate. I talked with them this morning. What are some of the interests that they like? Free time, talking with friends. They're currently on our soccer team right now. They both enjoy bowling, so we share something in common. They love PE. They are our peer mediators at our school as well. They help settle conflicts between students at schools. And there is something unique about both of them. I went back and I looked at their attendance. Both of them do not have any tardies to any class this entire school year. And then, just wait. So I'm like, I wonder what the year prior to that was. And I looked back at that year, so their 7th grade year, and they didn't have any tardies that year either. So that kept me looking, and I went back to 6th grade, and I found 2 for Castle. But 2, but none for Callum. So like these guys are on point. All right. And one last thing I said, all right, I'm going to say a lot of nice stuff about you. Is there anything that you don't want me to say? And Callan says, well, there's not a lot of bad stuff to say. So they are great kids. They are here to say the pledge. Guys, you can take it away. All right? Yeah, perfect.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a little bit of work to do tonight before we get to the typical agenda, but I would like a motion to adopt the April 28th Board of Education agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. The next section of our Board of Education meeting is to do our reorganization. So annually, we reorganize and elect officers. The process includes the superintendent working through the process of finding a president. And then once the president is named, I will take that person's seat, and the president will continue through finding a vice president, treasurer, and the remaining officers. So with that, fellow commissioners, I'm going to call for a nomination for president for the Board of Education.
I nominate Lisa Herta for President of Board of Education.
Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, nomination for Commissioner Herta. Do I have any other nominations? Policy requires us to have 3 times, so any other nominations? Okay, I'll conclude the nominations for Board of Education President. Because we only have a single nomination, we can do a voice vote. If we happen to have more than one nomination, then we have to do it by secret ballot. So because we only have one nomination, I would ask for a voice vote to elect Lisa Herta as Board of Education President. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. I'm going to change seats here.
helpful.
Could've just continued to sit where you were sitting.
Could have just moved it, I suppose.
Yeah, we like things difficult. All right, thank you, everyone, especially for your patience as we get reorganized. All right, continuing the process, I'd like to make a call for the nomination of Vice President of the Board of Education.
Carl Dahmer's house.
Liz. Paul. Okay, so I have a nomination for Carl Dammerhauser as Vice President. Do I have a second on that particular motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a second for Carl Dammerhauser as Vice President of the Board of Education. Do I have a second for Vice President for Liz Paul?
Second.
We have a second for the nomination of Liz Paul as Vice President of the Board of Education. So are there any further nominations for Vice President of the Board of Education? Following policy, I'll call one more time for any other further nominations for Vice President of the Board of Education. Okay, hearing none, nominations are closed and ballots will be distributed for voting. Please write one commissioner for your election for vice chair on the piece of paper. Superintendent Holzman will take your nominations once you're done. Thank you. Thank you, Gretchen, for counting.
That passes 6-3 in favor of Liz Paul.
Okay, congratulations. I declare Liz Paul as our Vice President of the School Board of Education. Congratulations, Liz. Okay, I'll call for nominations for Board Clerk of the Board of Education.
I nominate Julie Richardson.
Do I have a second? Second. I have a second for Board Clerk. Are there any further nominations for Board Clerk of the Board of Education? One last time, are there any further nominations for Board Clerk of the Board of Education? All right, hearing none, nominations are closed. I declare Commissioner. Oh, vote. See, I'm still learning. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Congratulations. I declare Commissioner Richardson as our Board Clerk of the Board of Education. And last, we'll call for nominations for Board Treasurer for the Board of Education.
I nominate
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second for nominations for Greg Ardrey for Board Treasurer. Are there any further nominations for Board Treasurer? Any further nominations for Board Treasurer for the Board of Education? Okay, hearing none, nominations are closed. All those in favor of the election of Greg Ardrey as Board Treasurer for the Board of Education? Say aye. Opposed?
No.
Is that an official no?
It's an official no.
Okay, well, that passes 8-1. Congratulations, Greg Ardrey. I declare you as board treasurer as the Board of Education. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Thank you for all of your continued service and your future service to the school board of Janesville. I will move on to safety message 1.5. Commissioner Johnson.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to share a brief message about general public safety and awareness. Safety is something that touches all of us every day, at home, at work, and on the road, and throughout our community. While we cannot prevent every unexpected situation, there are simple things each of us can do to reduce risk and keep ourselves and others safe. One of the most important habits we can develop in situational awareness, that means being mindful of what is happening around you. It means noticing your surroundings, knowing where exits are located, and recognizing anything unusual, and avoiding distractions when possible. In today's world, it is easy to become focused on phones, schedules, and the next task ahead. Sometimes the best reminder is simply to look up, stay present, and pay attention. It is also important to trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, it is okay to pause, move away from the situation, or ask for help. Often recognizing a concern early can prevent a bigger problem later. Preparedness is another key part of safety. Simple steps such as locking doors, checking smoke detectors, keeping emergency contacts available, and discussing plans with your family to make a real difference through stressful moments. Being prepared does not mean expecting the worst. It means being ready if the unexpected happens. We should also remember that safety is a shared responsibility. Looking out for our neighbors, helping someone who may need assistance, and reporting hazardous or suspicious activity all contribute to a stronger and safer community. Public safety works best when people care for one another and are willing to speak up when needed. Finally, kindness and patience also play an important role, and many conflicts can be reduced through respect, calm communication, and understanding. The way we treat one another shapes the kind of community we want to live in. Thank you for taking a moment to reflect on this message.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. That was well done. I would be remiss if I did not take a moment and welcome formally Commissioner Meisner and Commissioner Hirsch to the School Board of Education. Welcome. We look forward to your service. Moving on to 1.6, student presenters to the School Board of Education. First up, we'll have from Arise Virtual Academy, Ashton Catil. Did I say that correct? All right. Welcome.
There we go. Hello, members of the board. My name is Ashton Catil, and I have been a senior at Arise Virtual Academy. Though I live in Beloit, I've been a part of Janesville School District through open enrollment since the 3rd grade. I found Arise during COVID-19. It was supposed to be only temporary, but I realized how much more convenient doing online school was for me. A couple things I like about Arise is how welcoming, kind, and helpful the teachers and staff are. I've realized that Arise will go above and beyond for their students, and I am really grateful to have been one of their students. Another thing I have really liked about Arise has been the opportunity to participate in the Youth Apprentice program. So I'm going to focus on that right now. I'm currently taking part in the Youth Apprentice program for construction, which has been a total game changer for me. My school day is pretty streamlined. I spend 3 hours on my core classes like English, social studies, and social media. But the real highlight of my day is getting out of the house and working. I'm working as a construction apprentice for Pound Pros Construction in Beloit. We handle everything from home repairs to full-scale remodels. Right now we are doing a new flooring throughout a home in Janesville, where we're remodeling the kitchen and bathroom. I like getting my hands dirty on projects, and if I'm being honest, I'm not the best, hold on. If I'm being honest, book learning has never really been my thing. I've always been someone who learns best by doing, and I thrive when I'm working with my hands and putting in physical labor. The YA program has given me the perfect environment to grow. It's allowed me to earn high school credits while gaining real-world experiences, solidifying my career path in construction and home remodeling, and refining my skills while learning new ones from the industry professionals. Thank you so much for making this program available. It's been the best way for me to bridge the gap between school and the career I'm passionate about.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Next up, from Rock River Charter School, Cooper Crines. Welcome.
Hello? All right. My name is Cooper Crines, and I'm a junior who attends Rock River Charter School. First of all, I want to thank the administration at Rock River for selecting me to speak before this board today. I want to thank the board for giving me their time. My experience in the RAMP program at Rock River Charter has been nothing but positive since I started there in September of 2025. This program and school as a whole has gotten me new opportunities I would have not gotten through traditional high school. In my sophomore year, my grade point average was 1.3. My grade point average is now nearing 2.2 and will probably be higher by the time I graduate. I had a sense of hopelessness and anxiety when it came to what I was going to do with my life after high school was over. College felt out of the question for me. Not only was I not expecting to go to college, but part of me doubted I would graduate high school at all. I felt very alone and isolated from my peers prior to attending Rock River Charter School. At Rock River, I feel a sense of community that I lacked. Everyone in my program I see as a friend. I don't feel afraid to be myself. I actually wake up wanting to go to school most days. I never had that ever, not even in elementary school. Rock River definitely took a huge weight off my back. I'm very lucky to have had the opportunity to go there. The program I'm in is called RAMP. It stands for Reading and Math Program. It is a program which works with juniors and seniors to help their reading and math skills, and get them to where they need to be for a senior level program. I've had nothing but good experiences with the teachers at RAMP, and they've helped me greatly. Next year, I'll be heading the e-learning program and will hopefully be graduating in December. Now to tell you about some of the things happening at Rock River Charter School. We have just wrapped up statewide testing for Wisconsin. I did the ACT test, which was 4 hours of testing all in one day, and freshmen and sophomores took the pre-ACT, secure, and forward exam. Almost every student was able to complete the testing at Rock River Charter School. Rock River's graduation celebration will be held on Tuesday, May 26th at Craig High School, starting at 6 p.m. We currently have 120 graduates with more in each week. We are excited to see these students cross the stage, and we hope you will be able to join us in celebrating these graduates. The Inspire program, which works with all the pregnant and parenting students in the district, has served 29 parents this school year. This is an important service which is offered to all of our schools in the district. Our graduation rate for parenting teens is way above the national average, which this district takes great pride in. With Teacher Appreciation Week coming up next week, I want to personally thank the teachers and staff who work hard to help students in our schools. I once again thank Rock River for choosing me and this board for having me speak to you. Thank you all for supporting us and our different pathways we take to graduation.
And last, but certainly not least, from Rock University High School, Lark Matasius? Yes. I had a little help with that, though, so thank you. I had a last name in high school that nobody could pronounce or read, so I'm a little cognizant of trying to get it right.
Good job, good job. Okay. Good evening, Commissioners and Superintendent Holzman. My name is Lark Matasius, and this is my third year attending Rock University High School. I would like to begin by sharing my story and why I chose RUHS. Before enrolling in the school district of Janesville, I attended the Milton School District, where I faced challenges with bullying that impacted my confidence and my sense of belonging. Over time, my motivation and what I would describe as my spark began to fade. School became a source of anxiety rather than growth, ultimately making it difficult to engage socially and academically. At the same time, I had an example of another pathway. My brother, James Matasius, graduated from RUHS in 2023 with an associate's degree in electromechanical technology. Today, he is pursuing a bachelor's in computer science with a minor in business at UW-Madison. His experience revealed an environment where students could succeed, feel supported, and truly thrive. His journey played a major role in my decision to attend RUHS. Coming to RUHS gave me the environment to start over in where growth and learning is embraced. From the beginning, I noticed a meaningful difference in the structure and culture of our school. The flexibility of our schedules, combined with the expected independence of students, fosters responsibility while allowing room for growth. Instead of feeling confined by a rigid system, I have been encouraged to take ownership of my own education, an experience that has helped me not only rebuild my academic skills, but also my sense of self. Equally important is the sense of community at RUHS. Smaller class sizes have allowed me to build strong, genuine friendships and feel truly connected to not only my peers, but the community as a whole. The support of staff and students has helped me overcome some of my social anxiety and grow more confident in speaking, participating, and engaging with others. This growth has been incredibly meaningful to me and has been key to achieving my goals. Because of this environment, I've been able to take on opportunities I never would have imagined before, such as representing RUHS in California at the Critical Issues Forum Conference, serving as this year's Student Leadership Council President, and preparing to graduate this winter with my Associate of Science degree. I would also like to recognize my principal, Dr. Hernandez, my mentor, Heather Duckworth, and the many instructors who have supported me throughout my academic journey, including my ethics professor, Abby Mintam. RUHS has played a vital role in shaping my future. I plan to pursue a career in aviation, which requires discipline, strong academics, and the ability to remain confident under pressure. Through RUHS, I have been able to begin developing those skills early. The flexibility of our program has permitted me to start flight school while balancing dual enrollment, leadership responsibilities, and a part-time job. Taking college-level courses in high school has strengthened my work ethic, preparing me for the demands of my future career. Just as importantly, RUHS has given me the confidence to believe that this goal is truly attainable. After graduation, I plan to attend Minnesota State University Mankato to pursue a bachelor's degree in professional flight through the Delta Propel pathway, bringing me one step to my goal of becoming a pilot. Beyond individual experiences, RUHS continues to make a measurable impact. In the first semester alone, juniors and seniors completed 444 college credits, saving families an estimated $66,600 in tuition. This semester, we are on track to complete 525 college credits, further demonstrating the value and accessibility of this program. Tonight, BTC is hosting an awards program where 13 seniors, or 72% of the senior class, are going to be awarded their Academic Excellence Medallion for earning their college degree while in high school. We hope you will be able to join us in celebrating our 18 seniors at our graduation ceremony on Saturday, June 6th at 10 a.m. Our school community is also actively engaged. Student Leadership Council is arranging prom, and our senior class is preparing for their graduation. This year, RUHS gained a Key Club chapter, and we have 33 student participants. Members of Key Club have been actively serving the men's gift shelter for a few weeks. And in academic news, we have a UW-Whitewater College tour coming up, and several sophomores and juniors attended the Rock County Youth Apprenticeship event. We are also proud to celebrate the student achievements. Last week, Morelli Romero Martinez was accepted into the nursing program at BTC and awarded a $500 scholarship. Last Saturday, Vanessa Hexum and Ava Worowski competed at National History Day state competition in Madison. And earlier this month, Lucas Goetz, a student in the BTC culinary program, earned first place at the Skills USA state culinary competition. Our humanities teacher, Erin Jensen, earned the Herb Cole Teacher Fellowship, and next week, our January graduate, Natalia Maurer, will be recognized with the Young Woman of Distinction Award. It's difficult to fully capture the impact that RUHS has had on life. For students like me, it is more than a school. It's a place that restores confidence, rebuilds motivation, and creates real opportunities for the future. RUHS has helped me to rediscover my spark and given me the foundation to turn my dream of becoming a pilot into a realistic and achievable path. Thank you for your time and your continued support of Rock University High School.
Selfishly, I think those are the best part of a school board meeting is the student presenter. So thank you, Ashton, Cooper, and Lark for sharing your journeys with all of us here present, but particularly the school board commissioners. All right, moving on to 1.7, citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So done.
I have a first and a second by Commissioner Richardson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 9-0. Okay, 3.1, presentation and consider approval of employee dental plan effective July 1, 2026. Jamie Brown.
Good evening, Commissioners. So first tonight, we will vote on the dental benefit. Just as a short recap, we were anticipating a 5% increase with MetLife. Currently, that is our dental carrier. We did go out for bid, and Delta Dental was able to come in and match our plan design, as well as match our premium costs for a 0% increase for the district and for staff. In addition to that, it will broaden the network that our employees will have access to. It will include approximately about 250 additional dentists in the area. So, are there any questions on the dental renewal?
Okay, hearing no questions. Do we have,
Approval as presented.
all right, we have a first and a second. Any other further questions for Jamie? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes 9-0. Moving on to 3.2, presentation and consideration approval of employee health care plan effective July 1, 2026. Jamie Brown.
Okay. So just a high-level recap of the original discussion. Just would really like to clarify for everybody that the district did not make the decision to eliminate Dean as a choice in our district. That was a letter that we received directly from Dean. The reason we received that letter is because Dean does have a 20% enrollment of your eligible staff. And this was our third year in a row of not meeting that. I would say right now we are sitting right around 7%. Notification of Dean was given to the board at our board workshop in January, as well as all enrollees were notified by the end of January. Mercy came in with an initial 11.9% increase. And as we do every year, we went out and we explored our options. We wanted to make sure that what we present here tonight is the best that we can do. So we went out and we reviewed self-funding. We reviewed health reimbursement accounts. We looked at other carriers. And again, as a reminder, we are unable to get national carriers to bid on our district. That would be because of our historically high medical loss ratio. Utilization is just very, very high in our district. We are running approximately 147% for a medical loss ratio. And what that means is what we pay to the health insurance for premiums, the healthcare system is paying $1.47 for care. So they are losing money year after year on our district. Went back to Mercy and continued to have those conversations, and we were able to negotiate a 9.9% renewal. A couple things that we do have to increase. One would be the deductible. In order for us to maintain our plan to be HSA eligible, we do have to increase the deductible by $100 for single and $200 for family. That is an IRS mandate that is not dictated by the district. Are there any other questions on that?
I'm just looking at this contribution adjustment. I just want to understand, it says 2026 to 2027 adjustment, and then it's deemed to Mercy enrollees, and then there's that red bolded number and that black bolded number. Could you just help me understand what that means?
Absolutely. So our district has a defined contribution model when it comes to what we pay, when we determine the percentage that the district pays. So what we do is we pay 88% of the lowest cost plan. I would say 6 years ago, Mercy and Dean would, compete over who was going to be the lowest cost plan. We received several double-digit increases from Dean, while we did not receive that same increase from Mercy. And that extremely widened how much the employees would be responsible, because whatever the difference was, that would be like an upcharge to the employee. So when you see our Dean enrollees, they will be paying less premium than what they are used to paying right now. For example, I want to say approximately, as a Dean enrollee in single, it's about $200 a month. For a Mercy enrollee, it's about 87, roughly. So those who are single enrollees will see that increase in their take-home pay. Does that help? Does it? Okay.
Yes, thank you. As
Yeah.
a new school board commissioner, it's a little confusing, but your
Absolutely.
PowerPoint was great for me to look at, so thank you.
Yes, of course.
So moved. Okay. We have a first,
Second.
we have a second. Do you want me to read that motion out, Gretchen? Yes. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the employee health care plan effective July 1, 2026 as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 9-0 unanimously. Thank you, Jamie,
Thank you.
for all your hard work. That does not go unnoticed. And I appreciate the two new school board members diving right into that difficult conversation, because it's right at the tail end. So thank you for doing some homework on the back end. Appreciate that. All right, moving on, 3.3, facility update from the April 17th, 2026 water hazard. Superintendent Holzman and Dan McCray.
Yeah, I'll communicate, and if you want to stand, that's great. If you want to sit from there, that's fine. There you go. I thought it was appropriate for us to at least provide the board with kind of the day-to-day update of what happened. I'm sure you're all aware that we had major catastrophe at specifically 4 buildings, and kind of give you a reenaction of what was happening. Actually, when we look back to the 17th, to kind of give you an idea of what was going on, in the afternoon, we were having conversations about after-school activities, like should we cancel, should we get out? Some of the school districts north of us were actually leaving early because of the potential weather. We had the opening night of the musical, so we're trying to hold on as long as we could to not reschedule that. And just after 5, we decided that it's not going to be okay. We have to cancel and move on. Somewhere around 6:30, we started getting feedback from our custodians at buildings that we're starting to see some water. So first it was Parker. I think then it ended up being over at Jefferson, then Franklin. And there was varying levels of that, but one thing that I would like to commend is just the staff who were there immediately did everything they could, from filling up sandbags to moving carpets to doing whatever they could to try to mitigate whatever water we had. So to kind of give you an idea, at Parker, what was happening is the water was actually coming down the hallway just to the outside of where the auditorium was. And so they were trying to keep that water, it's a little bit of a grade there, from going into all of the stage when they were hoping to have musical going on. So there was, some hands on deck, and they were able to do that well. Jefferson had some leaks, and specifically into their 4K space, and then into some of their maker space. And again, custodian was there doing great work, making sure that they could at least try to mitigate some of that. And there was a lot of water, so it wasn't just a little bit. And I think everybody in our community realized it. I mean, it was really raining, and there was a lot of water coming down. Interesting enough, 2 of our buildings, both Franklin and Washington, had brand-new roofs. And it actually wasn't the roof that was leaking, right? That what ended up happening is the water built up actually at Franklin, and then it ended up going into, was it the HVAC? So it kind of spilled over and went into the space where we actually had air exchange, and then it went down there. Franklin was then basically in that gym area. And again, a number of people were there right on the spot trying to mitigate that water. And making sure that as that water went into our gymnasium, we could try to eliminate that as much as possible, because you can imagine what happens to the gym floor if you don't get the water off. So they did an amazing job, and knock on wood, it hasn't popped, as they say, where it bows. We'll see what happens in the long run, but, so I think managing that piece. Somewhere later on, as the water continued to come down, we probably got our first panic call at Washington. And you saw the video. Ultimately, what happened was the water just kept coming down, and it flooded the playground area. So if you can imagine the playground behind Washington Elementary School, it just flooded. The water first went into the playground because there's wood chips, and there's a little bit of a divider there from the grass to the wood chips. It spilled over to that, raised up a little bit farther, and then eventually got onto the blacktop where the basketball courts and the kids play. And then at Washington, there's a area of which we deliver some of our food service, some of our supplies and materials, and it's probably a grade elevation from maybe 5 or 6 feet, and each side of it is concreted all the way to the top. And so the water just found that area, filled up really quickly, and then that's where all the water went. So you can imagine the parking lot drained into about a 12-foot area, blasted the doors open, and then eventually 5 feet of water's in the lower level of our buildings. So our custodians did, everything you could. We couldn't stop it. I mean, there's just nothing you could do. You had to be out and be safe, and so we got the bad news, and then I met with Dan, and actually they called ServPro that night, and they didn't actually let us in the building, partially because they were worried about the electrical components that was happening, and everybody was out. So they started the work immediately, trying to pump out as much water as they could. We then had some conversations internally and talked about what our messaging was going to be. Matt Perenboom met back with us that Sunday, I don't know, 1 o'clock or something. I don't remember what time it was, but we were there. And then we kind of went inside and took a look at what was there. And the first blush, in all honesty, was really sad. It was just really difficult to see what we had in our cafeteria, our art room, our classrooms. You knew, I probably didn't imagine it was as bad as you thought it was until you walked down. I mean, there was mud. It wasn't good. So we knew we weren't having school. So our team got together, created some communications, and said, all right, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. So we're going to make the decision at that point to eliminate school for the week. And then from there, we started to brainstorm about what could be, and we all went back, started having conversations. We met as a leadership team on Monday morning, and Matt joined us, and we said, all right, what are we gonna do? What does it look like? We had some ideas. We went then and visited a couple of our facilities with maps, walked through, told them ahead of time, like, we're looking for space, so what does it look like? And honestly, both Madison and Adam's staff were just amazing to be able to just kind of understand, we've got to do something here. So we needed to identify 19 classrooms. And what ends up happening in those spaces is that we basically took rooms that were used by other staff and said to them, we need you to move. And they did. So we didn't have enough room at one building, obviously, to do that. And we actually first strategized on, could there be one space that we could look at? We called some of our university friends and said, is there a space that they have? And we just weren't able to make that happen. So we decided that we were gonna go to both Madison and Adams. From that standpoint, we wanted to make sure we provided transportation. We wanted to try to eliminate the same schedule dropping off and picking up at the same time, just knowing what the chaos is already at those places in the morning. So we buffered that by about 15 minutes. And then the next day we met with the staff, told them what the plan was, started a communication train, and really once we had the plan, our staff worked the plan. We needed to clear out some buildings, we needed to figure out where our materials were, we need to let them back in the building, all those things happened. And I probably should go through a list of about 100 people who did amazing work to make sure that our kids had learning spaces this week. And it was a feat that what was really, really amazing and probably reassuring about the great work that our people have is on Monday morning, we're standing there with, I don't know, 7 buses, because somebody ordered all the buses, and they all came on time, right? With spaces, with cones with the teacher's name, all the kids stood next to there. They got on the buses, they then drove to their schools, and then when they arrived in their schools, unbeknownst to me, all the kids were standing in next to their lockers cheering for the kids, give them a standing ovation to welcome them to their new school, right? So lots of things that happen behind the scenes to make school work. You know, an example would be, we got to get the Chromebooks from our school to the other schools. The Chromebooks are in a cart and the elevator doesn't work. Right? So people had to figure out how to get all the student materials, all the supplies, all the things that the teachers needed, not the teachers, because they had to figure out what to teach, and all the staff, but our custodians, our IT folks, like everything was amazing. To the point where when I went to visit the classrooms, and I think I can quote Dr. DeGraff, at 8:45, we're at Madison Elementary School, and they have the math lesson on the board, and they're working on math right off the get-go, right? Monday morning, it was like not a hitch. It was really amazing, and I know that there's gonna be some tweaks along the way, but to have the students in their classroom with their current teacher, just in a different space, really made an amazing difference. We have lots of great partners that we had a report last night at the Finance Buildings and Grounds meeting where we identified some people who really helped us kind of get to that space. Where we are now, I was down there actually today doing some media pieces. Anything that had the ability to pick up water, so I say like carpets, drywall, materials, that all has been removed for the most part. And there's just studs and flooring in there. So if it had some kind of a terrazzo floor, that's there, but if it had any kind of carpeting, that's torn out. All of our materials that we use to either cook, store, or cool food, that all has to be removed because of the sanitary piece. We don't have power yet. We had power and then they turned the power off, and so we're waiting for the city to kind of give us the thumbs up on turning the power back on. So all of that's happening with generators from ServPro, and they're in there sanitizing, cleaning, and trying to get us to the point where we can then decide how, you know, what it's gonna look like to repair all the drywall, all the paint, all the things that have to be pulled back. So it doesn't look like a disaster if you go in there. I mean, it looks like, boy, there's a lot of work to do because there's studs all over the place, and there's no equipment, and there's no tables, there's no art supplies, but we really have gone a long way. The next steps really is for us to check on our mechanical systems. And so that will be the real big test for us, excuse me, as we try to figure out, you know, what kind of things work. We don't have any air exchange, or we didn't when we first came back. So it's one thing for the boilers to actually light up. It's another thing for us to be able to blow the air through the 1939 building. We do know that it's in phase 2, I'm looking at that B, is that right? Yes. 2B for the referendum work. And to actually try to put that ahead into 1A or 1B, we can't get the specs or the delivery time in order to make that happen. So we're gonna figure out how to patch that and make that work for 1950-ish boilers and heating and air conditioning, heating components. And there's a lot of people that just were involved in that process, and I think, you know, I can think about just from the outside components, you know, the YWCA, the YMCA, our Boys and Girls Club, finding places for families, you know, in addition to ServPro. I mean, we've had a number of different partners. EMC Insurance has been there, Westfall's been there, Cullen's been there, EUA, our architecture, looked at the space, and they've helped us out. Helm, our insurance company, Tricor. We also received an amazing donation from Dollar General, where they gave us 400 school supplies for kids. So that was great. I mean, just ask Van Gelder to work with us, and they've been amazing when you think about the routine of having buses, because Washington had some kids who rode the bus because they picked them up in the country, but they had a couple, right? And we had, I don't know, I'm looking at Dan, 7 buses, I think, that first morning, and they were full, right? And the other thing that I would acknowledge before I take questions is, I went and asked how the attendance was, and they said that we were missing 20 students total out of the entire Washington student population, right? So they had 95+ attendance on that day. Nobody was late, right? I mean, it was just, it really, really, really went well. And I think that was kudos to just Matt Perenboom and his team, making sure that they had the communication out. I know that there were a lot of parents who had lots of questions. I mean, you think anything from, we're holding on to medication for kids, to what does it look like if my son is at one school and my daughter's at another school? And they were able to answer all those questions and really give parents, I think, a real comfortable space to say, this is gonna be okay and we got this. There was 32 days of school left, we counted from Monday, so, I think that we see that in the long range, that we've got this. I think the next step for us is just to work through, actually what else needs to happen in order for us to get online. Dan and his team's gonna talk about dollars, and we know that's gonna be a significant impact to our budget. We don't expect our insurance to cover a significant amount of that, so that's the next thing. We're just waiting for the bills to see what that looks like moving forward, but ultimately, from the student perspective, every student at Washington is back in a learning space, and all our staff is working this week. And, if you would've said, what are you doing on the 16th of April? I said, I don't remember. I mean, it was something, but I surely know what I was doing on the 17th, 18th, and 19th, right? It just changes what you're doing, and to this, our leadership team here that I'm looking at, every single person just stopped what we were doing and said, all right, what do we got to do to make this happen? And, you don't just show up and have IT work, right? So, and Brian's got all his folks out there, right? And we're talking with, Kim and Allison were at different spaces in there. Dan was at every building on Saturday, Sunday, Monday night, I mean, throughout the whole process. Carrie's supporting the employees about what does it mean for me and how are we gonna pay people. And Patty was writing, I don't know how many communication messages throughout this entire process. It was amazing. So we have lots of things to celebrate. I think one of the best parts of that was on Tuesday morning. We got to let the folks at Washington know that they were a school of distinction. That came out on Monday night. And so that's what we opened our presentation with is, hey, you guys are doing great work. Keep up the great work. We'll figure this out. We got this. And we're really grateful for that. So I don't know if there's questions that people have or anything, Dan, you feel like we want to update. Okay, any questions?
I have a question. First of all, I appreciate all the effort everybody put into getting the students into school again and making it a smooth transition. I realize now that the state has put out several help groups, forms to see how many people were damaged from the storms before they make an assessment of whether or not they're going to give any money. Do you see in the future the state giving us any money and help recover the cost of expenses?
Is hope a strategy? So one day last week, we gave a tour of our area government, some city folks and then some folks from elected officials. And so the answer is, if there's some pieces within the government that they have to identify, and the way I understand it, it's the value of the total loss. And that value, I don't know what the number is, and I don't know where it goes. But I do know that all those folks were there. They saw early on, right, the damage that occurred. We gave them, our plea for that. They did hear us because I think on Friday, I actually took a phone call and spent 10 minutes talking with Senator Baldwin about what that looks like at the federal level. I think the feedback that I received on the day that the people came was, it's probably not gonna be a federal disaster. It doesn't look like it's that large, but that doesn't mean that the state can't earmark resources for the community. And then if they do, we'll apply for them. But there isn't really anything at this time. I think they're still waiting. The city pushed out that, is it 211 number for people who had any kind of damage, and then they can collect, and I try to identify the vast number of that. Obviously, we're not the only group that needs some support, but it's really a waiting game to see what the state will do. But if they do provide resources, we absolutely will apply for those.
I really appreciate all the work that everybody did, and I loved your email where they talked about the ovation in the hallway, and I love that you made the students feel welcomed and supported, and that really means a lot. That's attention to detail that is that just doesn't go unnoticed. So do we have no idea how much insurance will cover of damages or what they might cover?
So we have taken the adjusters through the building, and we've also been working with Tricorders, our broker, to see what pieces of insurance work. It'll be minimal. We don't carry flood insurance. We're not in a flood plain. Had the building been struck or had there been mechanical failure that caused the water, we'd be in a better position. But just because the flood waters rose, we do carry a small policy. Mm-hmm.
I just want to say thank you for all the work you did, Superintendent Holzman and your entire team. It was amazing to watch all the work done behind the scenes, and I don't think everyone gets to see that. So thank you. I'm on the board for Janesville Youth Baseball and Softball, and there's a mom on that board who I talked to on Saturday. Her fourth grader goes to Washington, and she just said that, like, he came home crying. It's like, my school's gone, I don't have any of my stuff. And when I reached out to her Monday afternoon, like 3:45 on the dot, and they said, how'd first day go? And he was so happy that he was able to go with his classmates. He was so just worried about his classmates and his teacher. So I'm really thankful we were able to keep a lot of that together and able to get through this. So thank you very much, everybody.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I would be remiss as the, guess I'm the treasurer and chair of the Finance Buildings and Grounds, but yesterday we had a meeting and acknowledged a lot of the custodial and maintenance staff. And one of the things that, really hits home is, some of these people had personal damage at their own homes. And they set that aside and came in to do, their job, but to go above and beyond. So I think that was important just to acknowledge even that level of effort and dedication. So just thank you to the leadership, but the leadership wasn't necessarily in the 5 feet of water dealing with that. So, just to acknowledge them.
Anyone else have any questions for Superintendent Holzman or Dan? I just want to say a personal thank you. I mean, I know I was on the phone with you that weekend asking questions, and I just think our community partners just stepped up along with administration, and to really step back and take a moment and think that you all did all of that work. I mean, and I mean all of you, within 1 week, and those kiddos were back in there. Sometimes I always think that it was probably sometimes easier for the kids to adjust than the adults. But I just want to thank each and every one of you that I'm looking at right now, because you all spent your weekend planning, and that's really the definition of teamwork. From the leadership to the principals to people that opened up their schools to bring those students there, to the custodial, to facilities, to maintenance, to IT. I mean, it's just a collaborative effort. So I just really want to say thank you. I really do appreciate it, because in times of tragedy and challenges, it's when people come together that greatest solutions come out. And I can't think of a greater outcome, if you want to say that. It's flooding and it's water, and I have a little post-traumatic stress disorder from water in previous homes. So I just appreciate all the coming together to make that happen for our kiddos and our families and our students. It seemed like it was just like seamless when you shared that story. So just thank you to everyone. Okay, I appreciate that. Anything more you want to add? No more rain, maybe? Yeah. We could be a dry summer. I would appreciate that.
Small amounts.
Small amounts, okay, small amounts.
For the crops, for the crops.
I will remember where I was on April 16th, because it was the only dry day that week. That's how I'll remember that. It rained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday was no rain and it was sunny, and then the rain came back again Friday. So I will remember that entire week because the ground was so saturated. Okay, number 4, summary of board requests. I do not have any board requests for new commissioners, Meisner and Hirsch. We will share with you what board requests are and where those documents are during our onboarding process, so stay tuned for more information. If you would like things to be brought forward on a future agenda, that's the avenue and the vehicle in which you do that. Gretchen, do you want to share any future meeting dates and times?
Sure. The PPC committee is scheduled to meet on Monday, May 4th at 4:30 PM at the Educational Services Center. And the next Board of Education meeting will be Tuesday, May 12th at 6 PM at the Educational Services Center.
Okay. Yeah, you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the Parker Arts Academy for an amazing times 10 production of And Juliet. Wow. I would say go see it, but you can't because it's over. They did an amazing job. I said it again. I was astounded. Congratulations, Parker. And then also Craig is having their musical coming up this weekend. It's Little Shop of Horrors. So if you didn't get a chance to see Parker, go see Craig Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you did see Parker, go and see Craig's performance.
You know how good the And Juliet was? I was playing pickleball, and a community member, and I was playing pickleball down in Beloit. Community member in Janesville shouted out to everybody on the pickleball court how amazing And Juliet was, and there was one performance left for them to go see it. So kudos to them. It was an amazing performance. I would like to have a motion to adjourn. If there's no further. Second? You don't need that? Oh, okay, well, I get my first.
We are adjourned.
We're adjourned.
All right.